Hello there, Jeff here with the Bigshooterist channel. Thanks for tuning in. It's been a long time. If you watch the channel regularly, you know that every November I take the month off. It gives my neighbors a break from the other 11 months of noise that I make, and it coincides with our whitetail hunting season. So it's December 2015 and we're back. We're coming out of the gate strong. We're going to be testing the Seek thermal imaging device. I'm really excited about this. It's very, very small in size, and it's extremely tiny on the wallet compared to the military devices we've used in the past. Stick around. This one's going to be fun. If there's anything that I've always loved about electronics, the better they get, the less expensive they get. And that's typically just due to technology. Think of the first DVD players, if you're old enough, or the first plasma TV that you saw. Crazy money. Now they've got stuff that blows those both out of the water for 1/10 of the original price. We get the benefit of that with thermal imaging now, manufactured for a civilian market. This is awesome. The Seek XR comes packaged in a hard case, and it has a hard clamshell storage case for it as well, for transport of storage. That makes sense. It plugs into your Android device or your iOS device, and that's how the price, from what I understand, got down to such a reasonable level, is your phone or your tablet is doing the processing for this. This is just the camera. So even though it's inexpensive compared to most of them, we already have a fairly expensive part of the technology in our hand or our pocket every day. That takes away from the additional we have to pay. We're just using it combined with this. My interest in thermal imaging stems from the time I spend at the range. It comes from the time that I spend in the woods. There are a lot of things that I use thermal imaging for regularly that maybe most people wouldn't use it for. But this thing, or any thermal imager for that matter, has all kinds of uses once you have one in your hand. It turns from one of those things that is just really neat to own as a, I don't know, maybe a toy, into something that you can't live without once you've got it. It's really, really cool. Now the Seek XR Thermal has an adjustable focus. It's a true thermal sensor. It's got a 206 by 156 array. It has 32,136 pixels. This thing is unbelievable. For something that costs so little compared to what we've used in the past, it just does so much. It's crazy. And if you thought that the carrying case is small, the device itself is tiny. So even though the price is less than the military versions that we've used in the past by a long shot, you're not getting a product that's going to be inferior to 99% of the population. For a matter of fact, it's probably going to be superior. This measures temperature. You have a screen that you can choose that either tells you the temperature it's looking at in the center of the screen, or the high temperature and the low temperature on the entire screen. It'll just shoot right to the high and the low, and it'll tell you what the temperature is. So you can actually utilize this not only to look at data, but to read and understand the data that you're looking at. So I use this when I look at firearms. That's one of the things I do with it regularly. I want to see where heat is building up or where heat is bleeding through. Now think about that in a household. Where would being able to look at heat work out well for you? Maybe for your insulation, your R value on your insulation. If you go outside and scan your house and you have a bright or a hot spot, and again, you can measure the temperature. You don't have to just look at it. You'll know where you're lacking insulation value. If you have your plumbing, a clog in your plumbing, turn your hot water on, look at your pipes with this thing, and man, your water, it's really cool. The water glows. It looks like lava with one of the color schemes here. Your pipes are going to turn that bright hot color as well till it gets to the clog, and then they're going to be an entirely different color, a cooler one. So it's going to be easy to find. For security purposes, you hear some noise outside or your campsite or whatnot, you want to look around, you can hide in the shadows, you can be camouflaged, you can even hide from night vision. You can't hide from thermal imaging very easy. You might as well be on fire holding road flares or something when someone's looking at you through this. Very cool. Wildlife. Domestic animals, wild animals, anything that you want to look for and identify, it's going to make it stick out again like a road flare compared to what it typically would with no light. Obviously you can't see it. A spotlight, then you've alerted it, and again you can only see so well. With night vision equipment, if you have some good ambient light or another good light source, that's going to work well too. But if it's against a tree line or camouflaged or obscured in a shadow, and there are plenty of shadows at night, you're not going to see it well. With the thermal imaging, all you're looking for is the heat, the energy, and it's got both. The majority of the testing that I've done has been with a Galaxy S4 Android. Now, we'll go over the features on this, but I'm certain they're going to be the same regardless of what you're using for a device. I know as long as you stay with the same device, the features are the same. I have another Android tablet that's entirely different from the Galaxy line, and it works fine, and they're all the same. For options, you can choose Fahrenheit, Celsius, or Kelvin for a temperature measuring unit. I don't use Kelvin. I live in the United States, so I'm using Fahrenheit. The aspect ratio, in case you want to shoot photos or shoot video, is adjustable too. You can choose between 4:3 or 16:9. You can have watermarks on it. You can gather metadata. It will tell you where you were when you shot the photo or the video. This thing has so many uses, it's crazy. The color palette is all over the place too. You have several different colors that you can choose from. I've been using iron because it most illustrates what people believe they're looking at with thermal imaging anyway. Bright, burned out yellow, white hot, for heat, all the way down to like a dark bluish purple to black for cold. But I found that if you want more detail, if you use the regular white or the regular black, it's kind of like the military thermal images that we use, a positive and a negative. Those seem to have a little bit better detail. They're just not as appealing in a photograph. It's absolutely amazing what's going on all the time that we can't see. Let's take a peek at a few different normal things around the home or the shop or the garage that you walk by every day, and let's see what they look like looking through a thermal imager. This is a small propane heater, and it looks pretty innocuous like it is. It hasn't been on for about an hour or so. Let's see what it looks like through the thermal imager. Quite a bit different. Now I'm using the iron color palette. You can change it to several others. Let's take a look at the temperature. So this will show us the temperature in the center of the screen, and it'll change as we move it around. We can also set it to tell high and low temperature in the same screen. So now we're showing 109, 108, 111 degrees right over the pilot light, and 64 degrees down in the lower right hand corner. This is looking at that heater using the iron palette. Let's look at it under white. This is the one that I understand gives you the best detail. And I don't know how well it's translating through because we've got a video of a video or a video of a screen. But it's actually showing us each of the metal slots of the grate on this. And they seem to be showing up just a little bit better than they do under the iron palette. One thing that's important to know is it's not going to work through glass. You're not looking at an image, you're actually looking at data, and it's not going to transmit through the glass. So you've got to be on, you can't have glass in between you and whatever it is that you're looking for. Now here's a vehicle that's been sitting cold for several hours. Let's see what that looks like. You can see it's a little bit warmer where the sun's been coming in and warming up the hood. But I'm willing to bet it's going to look drastically different after a short drive. Let's take it down the road and then do a comparison. So here's the same truck after a 20-minute drive with maybe 10 minutes of cool down. Let's see if it looks any different.
Yeah, inner wheel well, front tires, the hood, the windows. Let's check the temperature on those just for the heck of it. So after the cool down, it's given us 72 degrees, actually on the brake pads. That's a lot cooler than I thought it would be. And 54 degrees on the garage door. How cool is that? Here's something interesting to do. Take a look around your house for power vampires. Things that use power that you wouldn't necessarily think they are. This is a plug that has a charger plugged into it, but the charger isn't charging anything. It's off. As far as I'm concerned, it's not using any power. It's nothing I've ever thought was using any power. Let's take a peek at it through the thermal imager. Clearly, it's using electricity. So this plug is sucking power out of my house, increasing my power bill for absolutely no reason. So I'm going to unplug it, and I'm going to run around and check all the rest of these things. So here's something that we see on a regular basis. This is a sink, a bathroom sink. Let's see what it looks like with the hot water on. It doesn't look all that impressive. Let's look at it through the thermal imager. So this is cold water, as illustrated by the purple. Now the base of the sink is warm, but the area that the water is very, very cold. Let's change that to hot water and see what it looks like. Now, it looks like there is lava flowing through the sink. Very, very hot. And you can see where it's transferring to the bowl itself. Let's check the faucet. Oh yeah. Yep, the faucet's getting very hot as well. So here are the pipes under the sink. Let's see if the thermal imager will tell us a little bit about which pipe is which. Well, the trap certainly looks hot, and the pipe to the left obviously is the hot water feed. The pipe to the right, very, very cold. How cool is this? Now if you had a plug here somewhere, it would be very easy to see where the transition was from hot to not hot anymore. Here are two interesting photographs. Actually three. These first two are photos of a 250-pound man at about 20 yards away. This third photo is a picture that we snapped through the seek of 5 deer at approximately 200 yards away. And both of these are pitch black. And the cool thing about these that most people forget is they work just as good during daylight or absolute pitch black, because they don't need visible light to work. Again, they're measuring energy and temperature. So here's a good comparison for you. This is a military grade thermal imaging device. If you're fortunate enough to find one, cost somewhere between $13,000 and $18,000. This is the Seek XR thermal imaging device to use with your smartphone. Cost, retail, about $300. Will this device do everything this one will? Absolutely not. But this one will not do things that this one will. And as far as the budget difference, there is no comparison. It's all difference.
So that is the Seek XR thermal imaging unit. How cool is that? I never ever thought that there would be something that works so well, that's so affordable out there. It was Optics Planet that made me aware of this one, and I'll have a discount code below the video. I'm not sure what it's going to be for. I'm not sure how long it's going to last, but I know that there's going to be a code when I launch the video. That'll let you get into one, let me get into another one for even less money. So I hope you enjoyed this video. It's good to be back. If you did, please click like, subscribe to the channel if you don't already, share us with your friends in your vast social media universe, and until next time, have fun and be safe. So that is the Seek thermal imaging unit. It was.